What's up, guys? This is going to be episode 7 of Tips and Strategies for Betting MMA. In this video, we're going to go through the full process from the time you open your account to you're making that first big cash out. There is a lot to talk about, so we'll get straight into it. First things first, and that's going to be opening your account, of course. So I like to target the sites that offer a match bonus, but I'm not interested in any bonuses that affect withdrawals. So sometimes they want you to wager 10 times the amount before you can access the bonus. I'm definitely not interested in that. I'm looking for the free bets or the bet credits. And basically the way those work is once your bets settle for a certain amount, a lot of times it's 1 to 200 for the match bonuses. So say you put down 200, once the bets settle for that amount, win or lose, you'll see those credits in your account soon after. And what I like to do with those credits is hedge. I've even seen people put the money on the fighter they like to win and then the credits on the opponent, but there's definitely better and more strategic ways to use them. And of course you don't want to blow through those credits in the first night if you don't have to. So I went over this briefly in a previous episode, but since there's some new eyes on the channel, I wanted to give an updated example for UFC 246. So this is more of a tactic to make sure that at the end of the night, even if you have a really bad one, you get really unlucky and none of your bets come through, you still have money in your account to bet another day. So this will only apply to straight bets or the last leg of a parlay. But let's say you have the same bet lineup as I have for UFC 246. So the first bet was Connor before his line tanked. That was at 1.57. So I have the first two highlighted. Also Holly Holm. Nasrat Hakpras is another name I'm waiting on to come through as the last leg of a parlay. So you'll see if we pair these three up, the odds are at almost 26 to 1. And if you take 10 from those credits, you'll see that it's 2.5 units. So if you do have that really unlucky night and your bets don't come through, you have that hedge to lighten the blow. Now some people ask, well, why would you do that? What if your straight bet and parlay don't come through? Well, if any of the hedge parlay fighters on the screen here lose, that means your straight bet with your hard-earned cash came through and you do have money in your account, right? We don't want any of these bets here on the screen to come through, right? We want all our straight bets to hit and the insurance parlay to completely flop. But, it does lighten the blow, when they come through. And if you bet long-term, guys, there will be a night where this parlay will help you out huge. It's happened to me in the past. It's definitely helped out buddies. So, just a tactic there. There is other times when you can use hedging. I mean, when you get to the last leg of a parlay, you're set to win, say $500. You can take 100 of that profit, make it a $400 night, and put that hedge on the opponent. That way, either way, at the end of the night, you're not disappointed. But yeah, just some things to look at, guys. They will save you money in the long run. I know a lot of people already use hedging, but it's just something I wanted to cover because it is a part of the game. Gambling is a game within a game. There's all different types of aspects to it. But I wanted to cover as many as possible. So I want to talk also about how to disperse that first deposit, right? So if you only have a small amount, and that's fine, just be strict with it. So if there's 3 bets you like on this card, and you have that $200 bankroll, you might want to put, 25 on each fight. You don't want to put out your full bankroll in that first night. It's there to grow. And the first stage is the building stage, and that's definitely the longest, right? You want to chip away at it. But once you get up to 500, you can increase your bet size. And one of the ways I like to track progress is by using units. And units are basically a percentage of your bankroll, usually 1 or 2% in most cases. I'm sure some of you use units as it is now, but you can break that first deposit, that 200 into 20 units of 10, and put out 3 units, 2-3 units per fight. Now that's if there is a bunch of plays. If you don't see any bets that you like or see value, you definitely should hold off and always stay disciplined. Don't take shots on the lines that don't have value. And that's what I want to talk about next is, determining value. But I also want to mention real quick, once you do hit that 500, guys, you can up your unit size to, $25. And then once you hit 1,000, say up to 50, all the way up to 5 to 10 grand where you can use $100 units, right? And that's where you want to get to. But yeah, you want to just stay away from risky parlays as well. Keep them to 2 or 3 confident picks and leave it at that, right? Or, if you're trying to get to plus money and you really have 3 confident picks, occasionally I'll go up to 3. But again, only really confident picks. And once you have them in one parlay, don't use that fighter again, right? Repeating fighters can lead to big disappointment if they don't come through and they mess up 3 or 4 bets. So minimize the risk, guys. Be disciplined, and always be confident before you click that place bet button, because if you're not, you shouldn't be betting it. You really want to determine that value. So if I was going to use this card as an example, I actually see 3 spots where there's value, but I like the opponents to win. So, most of the times I will jump on the lines where there is big value or I see those spots, and I feel like the bookies made a mistake and set the price too high. So Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone, and even Roxanne Modafferi. I mean, I put Pettis at about 2.0, and he's up to 3 to 3.5 on some sites. And Cerrone probably at 2.25, maybe at 2.5. And then Roxanne maybe 2.75 to 3, right? So there is a big gap in some of these lines where there is some value. And like I said, I do jump on these a lot of times. And if you look back over the previous videos that I've done, in 2019, I did jump on a lot of dogs because of the lines being off, and a lot of those did hit. But I'm high on, Connor, Diego, as well as I think Barbara will win too. So I didn't take a shot on any of those. But you want to put a percentage on the fighter that you're betting to win. So 60-40, 70-30, 90-10, whatever it is. But if the bookie is far enough off and gives a far less chance that fighter will win, usually that's a good spot, to put your money. As long as you're confident, you see that path to victory, of course, you want to put your money in those high value spots. If you look at the line and you think it's way off, in the long run, you'll make money on those plays. I've tested the method. It definitely works. And I only recommend betting on fights with value. Now, you can't bet every fight or even half the fights, right, and expect to make money long term. You really have to be strict, follow the strategy and stay disciplined. So super confident picks and small parlays, and high value lines are my go-to bets, right? And I always follow my strategy. Now, occasionally when you're way up and you banked a profit that you're happy with, you can have what I call cheat days, where you do, a few more risky bets or parlays. I ended the year last year with a couple risky events, but I had already put aside my withdrawal amount that I was happy with, and I took a small amount to play with, but only after being disciplined and going on that big run that we went on last year, right? So there was that profit there. But I treat it as an investment. I don't force bets. I don't chase losses. And I never make a bet unless I'm confident. Now, all these things are key to making money long term, and only 5% of gamblers do, guys. 95%, and I believe it's an accurate number, lose, and it has to do with sloppy betting. And that's, a lot of these paid sites or guys that want to charge you for bets, really all they're doing is a lot of times just correcting guys that have been doing those risky parlays and not doing straight bets. Because when they give you their slip or they tell you what they're betting and you're paying, they're just telling you, go with these straights where you would have probably done parlays, That's why I say I don't really recommend ever paying anybody for their picks, especially if you're a fan of the sport and you have half hour to an hour to study a fight. And I really do recommend, researching the fight, doing that tape study, because all of it, goes towards making money. So, there is a lot of things, guys, to look at. And if you want to make money, you can. It's definitely there to be made. I've been consistently making money for the last at least, 3 to 5 years now. I did start out, up and down. And, finally I got tired of, breaking even, because I'm sure a lot of you listening have the same situation. You have that really good event, and then you have an average event, and you kind of just float around even. And it's kind of hard sometimes when you're used to betting on every fight, that whole card being exciting, and you kind of got to get strict with it. But when you are winning money, even if it's only 3 fights a card, I mean, it definitely outweighs the excitement of an event, in my opinion. So, if you are going to get into this, guys, first and foremost, don't spend more than you can. Don't deposit $500 if you don't have that to lose. Only put in what you can lose. Let's say I lost all these bets. As much as I have that hedge there, I could afford to lose it all. Do you know what I mean? There's no money here that would, make an effect or have an effect on my life if I lost it. And I definitely don't recommend you guys, doing that either. Only put in what you can afford to lose, Treat it like when you go out to the casino or anything else, right? And make those really smart bets. Look for the value. And I don't really take shots on lines that are accurate too often. In this case with Holly Holm, I consider that line to be accurate. I think it is actually kind of a close fight. I just think if she fights smart, she can pull it off. And I was actually going to go with 3.5 units with her. I have already put down 2, and I was consider dropping another 1.5. But I held off on that because, there is some winnings that I think might be coming through with the other bets, and I don't want to jeopardize, any profits. So I do think that this has a potential to be a really good event. There isn't a lot of bets, like I said, but there are a couple spots. As long as you stay disciplined, there's some money to be made. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I'll come back next week. I was going to add in, how to disperse that profit. So if we win, where we're going to put that money next week. Or even if we lost, right, how to deal with a loss. So these were, 2 other things I wanted to cover. But we can do that next week when we come off of UFC 246. And that's about it, guys. I really appreciate everybody who subscribed. 3 months hit today, and I got my 200 subscriber today. So I really appreciate that, guys. And that's about it. I'll see you guys on the next one.